Cool. So you may not have just a name, but you might also already have an idea for a logo. And if you can get the process started on protecting the logo, then that's immensely helpful because it gives you an opportunity to start protecting your mobile app before it's even developed. Another cool thing about logos is that for some of you guys, these logos are also going to be your app icons. So it is possible to trademark your mobile app icon. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to tsdr.uspto.gov. Now, before I get started, I'll show you guys real quick Victoria's logo that she came up with. So this is going to be the icon or logo for our mobile application. Now, once you're here, you're going to want to click on File Online. This starts the process. Now, one thing you're going to see there's an initial applications form. You click on that, and then you're going to click Start Application in TEAS. So TEAS, it stands for Trademark Electronic Application System, and it is the trademark online filing system. And once you click Start Your Application, it's going to take you to this application filing page. Now, one thing I want to tell you, the reason why it took me directly here is because I'm already logged into USPTO.gov. If you're not yet logged in, then clicking on that button that I just clicked on before would actually prompt you to log in. Creating a USPTO.gov account is actually really, really simple. It's not that difficult. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. I suggest that you guys enable two-factor authentication just so that your accounts are really secure. I'm going to do it from the perspective of an individual, so I'm going to uncheck the is an attorney filing this application. I'm going to say it's just me that's filing it, and I'm filing it on my behalf. And I'm going to click Continue. All right, so we got the TEAS Plus going. It's gonna be $225 per class of goods and filed as an individual. So the owner, for the owner, I'm gonna put my name here. And again, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to put your last name, comma, followed by your first name and initial. This is just the format the trademark office likes. I encourage you guys to only use the DBA option if you are in fact a DBA. So just keep that in mind. All right, now it's going to ask you to select what type of owner you are. In this case, I'm an individual, and when I click individual, it's actually going to prompt me to input my citizenship. So I'm going to go ahead and select individual, and then U.S. citizenship. Select country, U.S. citizenship. Right here, U.S. The next thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to input your mailing address. So I'm going to input my co-working space here for you guys, and city, and then you're going to input your state, and then your zip. All this information that you guys submit through the TEAS system is going to end up being public, except this is the one exception. If you want to input your domicile address, that is not publicly viewable on the database unless it is the same as the mailing address. So if you want to input where you live, then you can. I would just uncheck this box and input it here. If you want to keep that confidential, get a PO box or an office or some other location that you don't mind everybody knowing about. Phone number and fax are optional. What you're going to see is I'm going to not put in a phone number, but I'm going to get a warning when I get to the next page. So just keep that in mind. The trademark office likes you to put more information rather than less so that it's easier for an examiner to get a hold of you. But again, with the email, the examiner is going to be able to reach out to me. So I'm not as concerned. Again, website address is optional. So when I click continue, I'm going to get a warning. It's going to say, hey, you didn't input your phone number. But again, I'd rather not. I want to just keep that confidential. So we're going to click continue. Now, here's where we actually input our logo. So it's got to be a JPEG or a PDF, and there's pixel size requirements. I prefer to have larger logos just because I feel like they show up more clearly in the register. So this is actually a nice and big logo. So again, it's 944 pixels in width. So if it's taller than it is wide, then I would push the height to 944. Again, make sure you keep that aspect ratio because you want the image looking nice and crisp, okay? I'm sort of breaking a rule here. I'm suggesting you do grayscale, black and white. The reason why is because it's better not to claim color as a feature of the mark. So if I were to submit this, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I might get an examiner who might actually object to it because I didn't present it in color. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm just going to change it so that it is black and white, and then I'll show you guys again what I've done. So I just modified it, and I will show you guys the new version. So here's the black and white version. Okay, so this is our actual mark that we're going to submit. And again, in our hypothetical, this is actually also going to be our icon for our mobile app, and this is what I want to show up on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Let's go back to the application. I'm going to show you guys what you guys need to do. So you need to click on this checkbox here that says Special Form. See Stylized and/or Design. So once I click that, then it's going to take me to a new page where that's actually going to let me upload my logo. So once I get to Special Form, I'm going to click Choose File. And this is where I actually get to upload that image that I just showed you guys. You guys can't see, but I have a file browser, and I'm actually finding my logo. And once I click Select and Choose File, kicker here is make sure you click Attach. You have to click Attach, otherwise the logo will not be attached to the application. Okay, so now if I click Open Link in New Tab, you'll see this is how it looks on the system. And again, nice big crisp file. And again, it's within the 944 pixel count, okay? And again, you'll notice it's grayscale, and you'll also notice that it's a JPEG. We're gonna type in the literal element of the mark. The literal element is essentially any word, letters, or text that's actually visible and understandable from the actual design. So in this case, it would just be RES. Now, again, we're not claiming color as a feature of the mark, so you have to check this box here. So it prompts you check this box if you are not claiming color as a feature of the mark. If I were claiming color as a feature of the mark, that would be okay. I would just put in this case, for example, if it was the logo before, I would just type in the color blue is claimed as a feature of the mark. Now you have to explain what the mark consists of. So this is a short description of what the mark is. And so we're gonna type in the word res surrounded by a star shape design. This should cut it. Again, if the examiners sometimes take issue with these, but they're relatively minor amendments that they can usually resolve pretty cheaply and formally and pretty quickly. Oftentimes they can just enter these amendments on their own. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and click continue. So now we're gonna go through the actual goods and services selection. Now, this is where you see the real limitations of the TEAS Plus application, because what you're going to notice is that I'm not going to be able to enter any freeform text for my goods and services description. I have to use their CAN description. So I'm going to type in mobile application real quick. I just want to remind you guys. So mobile applications are downloadable software under class 9. So that's something to keep in mind. So just for a point of reference, it'd be class 9 for mobile applications. If it's downloadable software, that goes for desktop applications. Any software that's in a recorded medium would qualify under class 9. So keep that in mind. As you can see, downloadable mobile applications. So these are the CAN descriptions. If you go down to class 9 here, we're going to see downloadable application software for mobile phones. Let me software 4. And this is the one I like because assuming you're doing the TEAS Plus, I never do TEAS Pluses. I always say just do the standard. You get so much latitude. You get to really use the description that you want. Again, if you're going to save the 50 bucks, this is the one that I like personally. Let's do this one today. So this is downloadable computer application software for, and then you can say mobile phones and then namely software for, and then you specify exactly what it does. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to insert that description. And this is going to be interesting because the reason why it's cool is because you can actually input text in 2 different places. So for the TEAS Plus application, anywhere that you see curly braces, that'll give you an opportunity to input your own text. So it's a really useful, if you're trying to save 50 bucks but want some latitude in how you input your description, this is a good way to go. Look for the ones that give you a lot of options to input your own description. All right, so downloadable computer application software for mobile phones. I'm actually gonna remove this one for now. We could have 2. You know what, let's just have 2. Remember, I did 2 class 9 options, so just keep that in mind. We can do downloadable computer application software for, actually, let's just say mobile phones and tablets. So one thing I'm going to say also is, guys, really the trademark office wants you guys to be as specific as possible. So just keep that in mind. If I had put mobile devices, there's a possibility that an examiner might want me to specify exactly what those devices were. So just keep that in mind. In this case, I don't really have a problem just doing phones and tablets because I can't really think of any other. Maybe we can add smartwatches. Okay, software for mobile phones, tablets, and smartwatches, namely software for gaming. Okay, cool. So all I do now is you go down and click Insert Checked Entries. So that will then add it to your application. All right, so we're going to click Section 1B. Again, a Section 1B intent to use, so you have a bona fide intention to use the mark in commerce. So I'm going to click this checkbox, and then I'm going to click assigned filing basis. Now, just a reminder, if you guys are doing this yourself, make sure you guys read everything. It's a really good learning opportunity. I know it's a lot of text, it's a lot of text coming at you, but it's actually really important that you understand exactly what you're doing and what you're getting yourself into. So, for example, here it reminds you that eventually you're gonna have to submit a specimen and an additional fee. So you have to submit a specimen showing use in commerce at some point in this process. So after your trademark is allowed on the Section 1B application, you're eventually going to have to submit what's called a statement of use that is essentially proof to the trademark office that, yeah, hey, look, I'm starting to use my mark in commerce. Here's the proof of it. It's a screenshot. It could be a tag if it's clothing, whatever specimen you use to prove to the office that you're using your mark in commerce. You're eventually going to have to show it, and there's a fee. It's $100 per class. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to click the checkbox, and then we're going to click assigned filing basis. Now we're getting closer to being done with this application. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. I got my 2 descriptions for class 9 for my mobile application. I'm going to input my docket code. Today is going to be 3. Here, I am going to input Victoria's email address because she is awesome and she's on my team, and I might miss a correspondence, but Victoria will not. So really, really good place for you guys to input your teammates, your team members, your partners, your assistants, whoever's involved in this process. Keep them in the loop. Add them here as secondary email addresses for correspondence. And again, if you have multiple people, you just separate them with semicolons. All right, so we're going to click continue. Now we get to the part where we actually sign the application. So I'm going to sign it directly. There's going to be 4 buttons that you're going to have to select in order for this to move forward. So the first is that you're acknowledging that you're filing a Section 1B intended to use application. So intended to use the mark in commerce. All right. So that's the first checkbox. The second checkbox is saying that you do not know of any other individuals or parties that are using the mark in connection with the same goods or services as you. So basically, this is saying that you, as far as you know, have a right to use this mark in commerce. And the third checkbox is saying that you have factual support to support what you've stated in this application. And the fourth is saying that you are signing under penalty of perjury. So lies you can be subject to fine and imprisonment for lying, essentially, for making false statements. So again, super important, guys. If you guys are going to do this on your own, I believe that you guys can if you guys are careful, but make sure you read everything. Make sure you understand what you are signing. Okay, now we're going to sign it. They make it really easy for you guys to sign. All you do is put your name with an initials. They auto-populate the date for you. And again, for the name, all I do is I like to do last name, comma, first name and initial. You could just do your first name. I like to do owner. If it's your mark, you can do owner or holder. So again, if the LLC is actually the party that's going to be putting out the app, then the LLC, your company, should actually be the owner of the mark. So just keep that in mind. Last thing, of course, we have to put our phone number. So here's my phone number, and I'm going to click validate. Now we are pretty much we're at the finish line now. So if I click input, I'm going to be able to actually see the application so I can review it once before I file. So here's the mark. It's a special form mark, which means also it's a design mark, basically, not just a word mark. This is the literal element. This is what we put in. And then this is the description of the mark. So it's the word VRES surrounded by a star-shaped design. And again, check that out. Boom, right within the limit. So 944. Remember, you got to keep it within 944, the largest in any one dimension. It's worth mentioning also that there's a smallest dimension. So if it's super narrow, you might have to add white space so that you can satisfy the 250 dimension. So it can't be smaller than 250 pixels in any one dimension. Again, this is my name, my address, my email. Again, look, I didn't put my phone number in, so please keep that in mind, confidentiality. But what's interesting, though, is that at the very bottom, I actually did put my phone number. The difference, though, is that you actually have to look for this. So you'd actually have to go into the application to find this. Whereas if you put your phone number as part of your correspondence, then it's a little more public. It's a little more public facing, and it's easier for people to find. So just keep that in mind. Again, I'm an individual, and again, U.S. citizen. And then, by the way, if this is a company, you'd have to put your state of incorporation, as you guys are going to see in future episodes. And again, this is my nice description. So downloadable computer application software for mobile phones, namely software for gaming. Again, this is the second inputted selection from the TEAS Plus options that I had available. And this is cool because I could enter in text in 2 different places in that one description. All right, so this is a Section 1B application. And again, correspondence information is here. Victoria's here, so I'm never going to miss anything. and then TS Plus, and total fees 225. So to me, this application looks pretty good. So I'm going to click back. Now, one thing I want to point out to you guys, if you guys had found any sort of mistakes, all you have to do is go back to modify. You can actually go back into every part of the application because it stores a session. And the really cool thing, I'll show you guys. If I go back one more, as you guys can see, I can make these changes here. But then when I click continue, it actually saves all the future information too. So you don't have to worry about losing any information. It's all going to be saved and stored. Okay. So it makes it really easy to go backwards and forwards, make any changes or updates to the application. Second to last thing I want to point out before I click submit, you can save the form. If you are not sure that you want to file today, all you do is click save form and it downloads what's called a .obj file. That .obj file can then be used tomorrow. So when you upload the .obj file, it actually stores the entire application. So you don't have to worry about re-inputting anything. So Victoria I could talk to her about it today, and then we could file tomorrow once we hashed out the description of goods and services. Maybe we're still trying to decide on the exact wording, or maybe we want to specify what type of gaming. Maybe it's like educational games or sport gaming, whatever it may be. We might want to talk more about it. So in that case, it'd be a good idea. I'd save the form .obj, and then tomorrow I would upload it, and that would save me all the time of having to re-input all that information. So a useful tool. All right, so you have to check one more box before you can submit, and that is this box here. This is saying some very important things. The first thing is that you cannot get a refund. So if for some reason this mark here, so excited about, actually is not cool with Victoria, like if she thinks it should actually be a polygon, then I'd be in trouble because I'd have to submit a whole new application. You cannot get a refund. So I'd have to pay another $225, do a whole new TS Plus application to get my polygon shape design, right? So the point is, make sure that that's the actual mark that you want to pursue, okay? Don't submit this and then realize tomorrow that, oh, you know what, actually I want to pursue this mark, because you can do it, but then you have to pay another application filing fee. Second thing, again, no right to confidentiality. So if I put my phone number in, that's going to be public record. So just keep that in mind. One thing that a lot of people, we get a lot of messages about, are these, there's all these companies out there that will send out misleading notices saying that you have to pay some fees. The trademark office even tells you, hey, you might get some correspondence after you submit this. Disregard it. Don't be paying anybody any money, because we, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, are not affiliated with any of these private companies. All right. So just keep that in mind. All right. So I check the box. I understand everything. And I click submit. And my application will then take me to a payment page where I can input my credit card information and submit my trademark application. So again, 225. So I get to save. This is $50 instead of 275. It's my 225. And I click credit card information, input my credit card information. And when I hit submit, it will then take me to a download page where I can download my entire application. The other thing that will happen is once I click submit, it's also going to send me an email. And that email is going to provide me with a copy of the application, and it's going to provide me with a serial number. So that file that I download and the file that I get emailed is going to have a serial number, and it's going to have what's called a filing receipt. So that filing receipt is proof that you submitted your trademark application on that day. So the reason why that serial number is so useful is because you can track the status of your application with that serial number. They make it really easy. All you do is you go to tsdr.uspto.gov and then input your serial number right in here and click status. So again, just input your serial number right in here. Right, you see right here, US serial number, click status, and you'll see the status of your application. So awesome episode. Thank you so much, guys. And we will